every time you're standing in front of an up-leveling or an upgrade or a leap that you haven't yet accomplished, you don't yet have the proof, obviously there's the doubt. Obviously there is the internal doubt and the potential for letting others people's doubts like affect you. Right, sometimes you are facing some kind of upgrade. You know you're standing in front of an up-leveling. You know it's going to be a little tough. You know that you're going to need to change. You're going to need to grow. You're going to need to stretch and up-level yourself in order to complete, the external up-leveling. Specifically for this person, it was a career up-leveling, so I'm helping this person break into tech, and you guys, but like, we see this all the time. So this just made me think of this super, super common thing where, basically he is trying to transition into tech, right? Like one of my, basically my zone of genius is helping people make these big leaps, these leaps that on the outside seem super dramatic, these leaps that to an outsider looking into your life, it looks like you were standing still, and suddenly poof, you shot up, right? A leap that doesn't really make sense with the rest of what you've done until now. And of course it does make sense. Like, there aren't actually leaps that don't make sense. It's just we use, maybe like we need to use a little bit of a different metric for how we judge what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, if that makes sense. Anyways, this guy, super talented, has done some really cool things in his life. His resume is like not related to high tech at all. But he has some amazing abilities. And actually, originally when he came to me, he was saying he's gonna like downgrade all of that and go find, like, he's done a QA course once upon a time, so he was going to brush up on his quality assurance skills and go into like basically the most entry level thing. And just from talking to him for a minute, I could see it's like that would not bring him joy. That would not be the best use of his potential. It was just like not a good fit. Anyway, so we talked a little bit. We decided what he does want, which is like more senior stuff, more interesting stuff, project management and all that. And so we started working together, whatever. And today he started going, well, do you really think I can do this? Like, do you actually think it's possible? Now, I know that it is. Obviously, I can't guarantee it for him, but I've seen enough times this transformation happen that I know what it takes. I know that it's possible. I know that he has what it takes, and I know what what the motions that he needs to go through in order to capitalize on those things. But it really made me think about, and I told him this. I was like, do you know how, like, when we're trying to accomplish a big leap in our life, when we're trying to do something that kind of feels a little crazy, feels a little like almost impossible. It can't actually feel impossible to us. We have to believe it's possible. But something that's like so far out, and on the one hand it's really exciting, but on the other hand it's scary as shit. It's really, really scary. And I said to him, do you know how I want to prepare you for this? That, when you like attempt this kind of upleveling, there's going to be voices, maybe inside you, maybe outside. Maybe it's going to be people around you who come and say, you know what, I think you're aiming too high. I don't think, like, that goal that you have is too big. Like, why don't you wait a little bit? Why don't you start small and work your way up? Why don't you, like, this doesn't really make sense to me, right? We talked about that, like making sense. And I said to him, have you ever had that happen to you before, where you set a big audacious goal and people told you, like, forget about it? He said, yeah, of course that's happened to me. And because he had built a business from scratch and had done really, really well for himself in like a completely different industry. And what happened in the end? He's like, I did it. And so we worked to connect him back to the place where people told him it's impossible. He didn't have the proof yet that he could do it because he hadn't done it yet. But he knew in his heart of hearts that that's what he wanted. That's where he's pointing at. That's where he's going, no matter what. And that conviction, that level of like internal decision, is the thing that carries you through. So when you're looking at, and that really helped him. He's like, oh, this is just like that. This is actually from my perspective as his coach, I could see that the stuff that he accomplished before is actually probably harder than what he's trying to accomplish now. But but to him, this looks like a really big leap right now. Like, he hadn't done it yet, obviously. Every time you're standing in front of an up-leveling or an upgrade or a leap that you haven't yet accomplished, you don't yet have the proof, obviously there's the doubt. Obviously there is the internal doubt and the potential for letting others people's doubts affect you. But we've all had, some accomplishment in our life. Anything, big or small, it doesn't matter. It's the same mechanism for big or small. As long as it feels big when we're in the before, and we do it anyways, and then we're standing in the after, and we look back and we're like, oh, I did it. Nobody, or not many people thought it was possible, or I wasn't as supported as I could have been or as I wanted to be, but I still did it. Or I had my doubts, but I still did it because I decided to. Whatever it is, right? If you can connect back to a time in your life where you were facing kind of similar feelings, and you still did it. And the trick is, and hit like the sneaky part that happens sometimes that prevents people from using this, because I'm sure this is not the first time you've heard this tip. The sneaky part is when people go, yeah, well, I did that, but this is different. And the truth is, it's usually not. It's usually not different. Whatever you're trying to accomplish might be new. Maybe it's whatever it is, wherever it is that you're trying to achieve now, might be a new industry, might be bigger numbers, might be new in any sort of way. But the mechanism is the same. The mechanism, I'm standing before something that's new, something that's not familiar, something that you haven't yet accomplished but you want to, and then still having that decisiveness and still getting into that zone that you did already, that you have, proof for. It's the same mechanism. So I guess what I'm saying is, right, you don't have proof, like this guy doesn't have proof that he could break into high tech. And you might not have proof that you can charge as much as you want to charge if we're talking about raising your prices. And whatever it is that you're up against, yes, I agree. I'm not arguing against reality, right? I'm not arguing against what is. Yeah, you don't have proof yet that you've done it. But you do have proof that you're an overcomer. You do have proof that you've done something against some kind of odds before, and all you need to do is connect back to it and really understand that it's all the same thing. It's the same mechanism. Okay, so that's my tip for you for today. I hope it helps, and I'll see you guys next time.